did for the WC, right? I mean, till
Exactly.
Toto did what
Look
they
at that.
did.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody knew all this.
Everybody wants our product, but nobody will trust you.
Actually has a full form which is Salus per Aquam, or healing through water. And he wanted to bring this into India.
I did not know that full form.
Why does the investor community gets away from the hardware business directly?
Welcome to Startup Table with AJ. AJ being me, Archana Jahagirdar, and we are sitting in the Rukam Capital office, of which I'm the founder. It's my real privilege to have founders at my table, very, very frequently. I wish I could do it every day, but of course, being a fund manager, there are a lot of other things I need to do on a daily basis, but I really want to kick this conversation off and hear from an entirely new set of founders as to what are their challenges, what are their hopes, their aspirations, and the category that they're building in. So I'll request each one of you to introduce yourself, and really thank you so much and welcome to Startup Table with AJ. I'll start with you. Please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone. I am Chitranshu. I am co-founder of PrimeOS. We have created a lightweight operating system, specially for laptops, and specifically designed for 15 to 23-year-olds. This lightweight operating system ensures that the user gets high performance in an affordable hardware. In the past 2 years, with our innovative operating system, we have sold more than 70,000 laptops on Flipkart, Amazon, and B2B clients.
Great, welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Pravir Chadha from SteamPro, where we're trying to create the bath tech space in India. Where I come from, I believe that technology has transformed our lives.
First define what is bath tech. I mean,
Exactly.
that's a whole new thing. So
Absolutely, absolutely, exactly. So the idea is that we're all living in the 21st century, all sort of entrenched with technology. Lives have been transformed, but as soon as we open the space to the bathroom, we're taken back to the 90s. So what we're trying to do is bring a bit of technology with 3 core beliefs at mind. First is that water joy has skipped the bath space. We've been, this is probably the first thing that we do in the morning. We take a nice shower, but we're all dancing around looking for that perfect temperature, perfect pressure, so on and so forth. So what we're trying to do is firstly incorporate a beautiful steam therapy system into each and every bathroom. So that's the first product that we've launched, with again the core belief that water joy needs to be expounded through the power of tech. Secondly, we believe that water has the power to actually cause wellness. So water in its various characteristics like quantity, quality, pressure and temperature, when applied at various parts of the body, has the power to completely cure you. So we're trying to expound that also with our technologies. And the third is of course water consciousness. We waste about 200 liters of water every day from my perspective. We waste this water every day on our shower. It can do a lot more. So we've launched our first technology called SteamPro, which is the world's finest steam bath system that can go into each and every existing space. So in your current shower room can now transform into a proper wellness oasis through the power of SteamPro. And it is the world's most smallest, greenest, most efficient steam system that takes 1 liter of water instead of that 200 liter of water that we waste every day. That 1 liter of water can do a lot more. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take SteamPro into each and every house in India.
Welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Raghuraj and I'm the co-founder of Houzmatic. Houzmatic is a smart home company, and it's an IoT based company under which our objective is to make smart homes easy, affordable and simple for all the Indian household. And currently what we are aiming at is to build a market in which we can basically have a smart home technology for all, like a one-stop solution for smart homes basically, so that your entirety of your home can be controlled with one application. So we have smart home products that can fit in your existing smart home structures rather than you having to have complex wiring issues. So that is where IoT comes in. And the problem that we are trying to solve in the market right now is actually, the first one is that pehle se automation has been a very expensive process, because of which the adoption rate has been very, very slow. So this is something that we are focusing at to make automation very affordable in the current market. And secondly, the after-sale services in the automation sector has been a very big hassle, which is also an issue as to why people are not adopting properly. So that is the second issue that we are targeting right now, and yes, that is about it.
Welcome. If you can introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I am Ravi Kaushik, CEO and founder at Airth. We have developed world's first AC air purifier. So imagine your day. You get up, you are surrounded by AC, home AC. Then you get into your car to drive and you are then also surrounded by AC. And then you get into your office like we are surrounded by ACs. So almost 24 hours in a day, 20 hours we remain indoors surrounded by ACs. None of these ACs can give you clean air. And air pollution, we all know, has now become it has now become an invisible killer. So technology cannot win the game. It has to be convenience and affordability. That's what we are doing. We are helping you upgrade your AC at super affordable cost. We have upgraded 30,000 ACs across India in last 24 months. It took us 8 months to sell first 1,000 units. That was the biggest challenge, how to sell something that nobody is looking for or searching for. So that's how our journey started, and hoping we can upgrade all the ACs in India and abroad.
Okay, welcome.
Hi everyone. So I am Raghav. I'm founder of Peore water purifiers. So we are a water purifier brand dealing in nano filtration based purifiers, which are better than RO in terms of water wastage. It wastes up to 70% less water is wasted, up to 30% less maintenance cost, and then the water is also much more healthier as compared to a regular RO purifier. We've been in the market for about 4 years now, bootstrapped and growing organically, scaled to about 15,000 plus families so far. In order to reach this product further to families, who already have a water purifier, it's a one-time purchase. We are also now launching a filters brand, which can be retrofitted into an RO purifier and then can be converted into an NF water purifier, and hence contribute towards saving water, reducing the maintenance cost, and also getting healthy water.
Welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Shrey Sardana and I am one of the co-founders of Grest. So we started Grest in 2018 and we are an end-to-end tech-enabled reverse commerce company wherein we, by the use of tech, we buy old devices from the customers. Then we have our own refurbishment facility in Gurgaon, 20,000 square feet state-of-the-art facility, wherein we repair and refurbish and recondition the phones, and then we sell affordability and aspirations to the end customers with a peace of mind warranty of 6 months.
So welcome to all of you. I think it's interesting, all the spaces that you guys are all building in. So my question, I think you referred to it. How do you sell a product which the consumer doesn't know exists? And what has been the challenges that all of you faced in doing that? Because all of you are, you've got unique products. Some of them are B2B2C. I think in your case, it'll be more B2B, right? So let me just finish the question. So my question is that, these are products that maybe the consumer is not thinking about so deeply. So how difficult is it to sell an idea that you think should be part of every home or every customer's journey? So yeah, you were starting. So we don't have to go clockwise or anti-clockwise. So whoever has an opinion can please go for it.
Absolutely. I would say you actually nailed it. This is a beautiful question. In fact, when you were, introing, I could definitely point this one out as well myself. So, about 4.5 years back when I started out, this was the biggest question on our mind. Do even users exist out there? Do they want something like this?
Yeah, do they care about it?
Do they even care about it?
Yeah.
It's like we as founders, we're all optimists, people who want to change the world, but is the world really looking for any of this? So of course, the first question was, and this is also the challenge that we're even currently facing in terms of, we just closed our first fundraise. And what we're doing with this is specifically solving for this. Now, 4 years back, the answer was a little different. What I did particularly was to actually just launch a Facebook ad campaign, without a product, with just an idea in mind. Very direct messaging. Do you want steam bath at home?
But how did you get this idea? Why would you want people to have a steam bath at home?
So I am actually second generation into this. My entire expertise for the last decade has been hydro wellness solutions for hospitality and for ultra HNIs. So our solutions are running in 5 of the 10 business families. They're using our hydro wellness solutions like your steams, saunas, cold plunges, chilled showers, so on and so forth. Some of the biggest spas of India like Anand in the Himalayas, Amatra Spa, Ravisan Spa, all use our technologies. So when we were doing all of that, and you know, to give you an idea again, my upbringing has been specifically in this, where we were the guinea pigs to all the tech development. So when my father actually traveled the world and he figured out that spa actually has a full form which is salus per aquam, or healing through water, and he wanted to bring this into India.
I did not know that full form.
Exactly, right. In India, somehow spa looks or comes in the domain of massages, whereas spa is an absolutely different offering altogether. It's full of therapies that are specifically dominated by water. And even in our own Ayurvedic beliefs, you know, water has a lot of
No,
role
water
to play in.
has healing properties. I mean, there's no two ways about it. So,
Correct.
So, anybody else wants to talk about how? I mean, I think you started the conversation, so maybe you should get
Yeah. So first, I think, as you rightly said, how to sell it. But the biggest factor, one, is how you get into people's habit, and that's what you need to figure out. So for me, also for is how to get into habit. Second is word of mouth. So just imagine two people talking about air purifiers. They'll always talk about कि यार खरीद लिया, use कोई करता है नहीं, right? So that is why that market is not growing. If you want to grow organically or with limited constraint,
or is it too expensive and it looks ugly in your, you know, in your living space? It takes up space, right?
yeah. Those are added points. But at the end of the day, it is as good as एक बहुत महंगी गाड़ी खरीद ली, 9 महीने जो पार्किंग में ही रहती है, आप 3 महीने उसको निकालते हो, राइट? सो जब भी आप दोस्तों में बात करते हो तो ऐसी बात करते हो. So that is why perceived value is very low. And second is habit में जाता है क्या? Just again imagine you enter your house. First thing, you turn on lights so that you can see things. Second, anything related to thermal comfort, AC, fan, cooler, heater, something like that. But and then you get into your doing work, you will forget कि यार वहाँ पे एयर प्यूरीफायर था, उसको चलाना भी था, because there is no trigger point. आप लाइट भूल जाओगे तो जाओगे और चलाओगे क्योंकि दिखेगा नहीं. आप AC भूल जाओगे तो थर्मल डिस्कम्फर्ट होता है, चलाओगे. सो दैट्स द ट्रिगर पॉइंट. बट एयर प्यूरीफायर से कुछ नहीं होता है. सो ट्रिगर पॉइंट्स कैसे हम लेके आ सकते हैं? ट्रिगर पॉइंट बेसिकली मीन्स गेटिंग इनटू बिहेवियर, और वो उसके ऊपर फिर एड्स चलाना. सो व्हाट यू हैव राइटली सेड, आप रोज बात करते हो तो वो ट्रिगर पॉइंट है, वो यू कैन रूटीन में जाते हैं आपके, और उसी के ऊपर आपने एक एड चलाया कि यार वहाँ पे कुछ कर सकते हैं क्या. सो हिज एजेंडा वुड बी कि यार जब भी मैं बात करूँ नेक्स्ट, यूज़र मेरे बारे में सोचे या मेरी ऐड के बारे में सोचे कि यार वो ना शायद इतने हज़ार रुपए में मैं स्टीम का बात ले सकता हूँ. सो सेम फॉर अस, व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू डू नाउ इज़ कि आप, एक हैबिट है, एसी के बारे में आप पूरे दिन में कभी बात नहीं करते होगे, लेकिन एक चीज़ आप जरूर करते हो कि जब भी आप उसको उठाते हो रिमोट को और एसी की साइड ऐसे देख के करते हो. सो माई एजेंडा इज हाउ टू गेट इन टू पीपल्स हैबिट. जब भी वो ऐसे एसी ऑन करे ना, वो बोले यार शायद गंदी हवा आ रही होगी, इसको साफ भी कर सकता है. सो दीज आर सब वेरी फंडामेंटल थिंग्स. We have been in touch with a lot of marketing gurus and all of that, but figured out कि वो commodity product बेचने में ज़्यादा, एक ग्लास बेचना वो बेच डालेंगे, लेकिन एक नया प्रोडक्ट बेचने में उनको ये हम फाउंडर्स को ही घुसना पड़ेगा, and we have to become those marketing gurus.
No, but I say this a lot to founders that, you know, I think there's a tendency कि we'll get this performance marketing agency, we'll speak to marketing agency, and then I keep saying no. Yeah. It's the founder who has to be the marketing genius as well, which is why again, you know, something like Apple or even Microsoft, I mean, if you think about it, they have very strong marketing game as well. And that comes from the founder, doesn't come from an agency. Anybody else wants to comment on?
I feel the question that you've posed is actually very, very apt for the smart home industry in itself, because smart home has been all about wired automation up till very recently. And उसमें issue ये होता था कि it used to be very expensive, so not a lot of actual consumers got into automation.
I think with expensive, with anything in the home, including, let's say if I want to retrofit my bathroom with steam, is you feel, oh my god, तोड़ फोड़ करनी पड़ेगी, because everything has to go from inside, right? Exactly. All the wiring, all the plumbing has to. So then the friction is too much to make that change?
Yeah, so that was the issue, that with wired automation, जब घर बन रहा है तभी wires
हाँ,
आपकी जाएंगे अंदर
exactly,
से,
exactly.
तभी आपकी lighting में सब कुछ होगा, and
Exactly.
then you will get like an automated home.
Exactly.
Vis-a-vis now we are in a stage where we have retrofittable solutions and sensors which are all wirelessly operated.
Yeah.
So we have devices that go behind your switchboard and your entire lights are automated, like just like that. So now the issue that we are facing is brands like Cubo and Godrej have actually brought up smart door locks and smart doorbells. But jitni bhi baki smart home ki range hai, that is like the customer doesn't have any knowledge about it whatsoever. So all of these retrofittable systems, all of these solutions are जैसे people find about it, like अच्छा ऐसे भी हो सकता है, oh that's possible, अच्छा let's go ahead. So now our main agenda as founders is कि पहले मार्केट को तुम थोड़ा समझाओ कि ये प्रोडक्ट है, ये ऐसे चलता है और ऐसे होगा, and then we will increase our demand for all of our products as well. Like.
Okay. So I have a follow-up question, but I want everyone to speak and then I'll ask that.
Right. तो हम लोग we are facing a very different kind of challenge.
आपके लिए तो I think it'll
हाँ,
be a lot
so हमारा
easier.
product
Everybody
को-
has a problem
Yes,
of
yes.
e-waste.
Everybody wants our products, but nobody will trust you. तो सबसे पहला है trust build करना. But selling side is comparatively easy for us. The difficult
Buying
side
back.
is yes, buying back, क्योंकि behavioral economics come into picture कि कोई भी customer के लिए उसका product तो is like very very precious. So giving the right price to the customer जो उसको भी suit करे. Then when selling refurbished के terms में लोगों को लगता है वही any mom and pop shop जहाँ पे लोग ऐसी कुछ भी हवा में repair कर रहे हैं. We have a proper setup. So getting that trust to the customer and delivering that warranty, मतलब अगर कुछ problem आती भी है तो I mean it's a full supply chain circle which we have to cater to get the best product. And interestingly हम लोगों ने 2 राउंड्स रेस करे हैं अभी, तो दोनों राउंड्स में जितने भी इन्वेस्टर्स थे दे वर आवर कस्टमर्स फर्स्ट. हमने कहा पहले आप ट्राई करो, देन पहले इस्तेमाल करें फिर विश्वास करें, एंड देन दैट्स हाउ वी बीन एबल टू क्रैक दिस.
Investors buy second hand.
That's a very worrying sign about an investor then. Were they trying to sell or they were trying to buy?
So we sold it to them.
Okay.
So in our case, again, like many of us, we are creating a category, we are promoting a new technology in the market. So awareness, of course, and educating the customer, of course, becomes a big part of it. And of course, founders need to lead the charter and be part of, doing content and, organic reach out, etc., which brings in trust and create awareness around the technology, basically. Second is a category like ours, and even theirs. It's a very infrequent purchase. Person will be purchasing the water purifier in every 5 to 10 years. Once he have purchased, even if I am trying and educating him, right, he's not going to buy right away. So that way, in our marketing and sales process, we've tried to identify where the customer is ready to buy the purifier, and that is where we market ourselves. Basically trying to control our expenses, and we are not reaching out to wrong people who are not ready to buy right now. Secondly, for the people who are not ready to buy, the product is still good, right? We save water, we give healthy water, we also cost less in maintenance. So we are now coming up with retrofit solutions, etc., where we are able to enter the customer's life cycle. Even with his existing purifier, at least he starts using our purifier or our products in the form of filters, etc. That is where we are trying to enter the customer life cycle, and whenever he is ready to purchase the water purifier, let's say in 5 years, he will be considering us as well at that point of time. So that's the approach we are taking towards it.
In our case, the situation is little different. We have created this new category fighting against HP, Dell, Lenovo's of the world. They have been selling Windows laptop for so long. And this new category of hybrid laptop powered by our Android-based operating system. So education of the category was tough. Making customers believe was tough. But we could find that niche, and that we thought would help us, that niche of 15 to 23-year-old TG. So for example, in all of our case, if we are able to find the niche of the TG, that particular niche, there the targeting becomes a little easier. And once that niche is figured out, then the second part becomes, in our case, especially if we could build something like a unique bragging proposition, because personal computer is a very aspirational thing. And especially for these people 15 to 23-year-olds who have budget constraints, especially students, for them to have a personal computer also enables them to get either higher education or employability. So if we could create through our product some unique bragging proposition that they can tell to their friend, कि ठीक है मेरे in my personal computer, it's so value for money. You can connect it to a cloud PC, run GPUs, NPUs, and all kinds of computing in a 15,000 rupee machine.
Wow.
So that kind of a unique bragging proposition, I think, will help propagate the brand and creating the new category. So we think 5 years down the line, every one of us will be using a hybrid laptop only, where some of our computing will be happening here and some of the computing will be happening on the cloud, essentially. So that category, we think in 5 years, we should be at a position where we have that market share in that category.
So the follow-up question I have is, now that all of you know and understand that it's a hard journey to educate the consumer first, and in a lot of your cases, infrequent purchase. I think almost everybody here will be in that. So in hindsight, do you think you should have picked other categories, or is there a way to increase the velocity? Because investors also look for this, right? They look for companies where there's frequency. Otherwise, वो LTV बैठता ही नहीं है.
So actually, in our case, what we have done is, so essentially how we started is we are an operating system company first. We build that operating system based on Android open source, which has access to Android apps and browser, with a thesis that in 2018 we started this company with a thesis that all the e-learning is on Android, better form factor is laptop. Let's build this new category. Now what has happened is since 2018 till today, from an OS, we have got into a laptop business because first we reached out to all these Micromax, Intex guys. It did not click with them to launch this new category. Then we launched the laptop. In our category now, because we own the stack, just like Apple does, the whole hardware stack, we are able to build services, value-added services that we can upsell to customers. So in our case, we have figured this out. Laptop, yes,
But it took you time.
Yeah, it took us 4 or 5 years, and
So
also the
do you
category.
think you could have gotten into an easier category जहाँ पे इतना सा मेहनत नहीं करनी पड़ती?
Yeah. There is always that thought, when the days are low, and in a founder's journey, it goes like this, right?
Yeah.
But now, at this point of time, we feel, any category that each of us picks, after 5 years, that should be not today, after 5 years, that should be a very large business. If that answers it today, I think it's a good category to be in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. So it's like a bamboo tree वाली theory. पहले 4-5 साल तो आपको नई category में roots ही बनानी पड़ती हैं. So we had to develop a lot of trust. In fact, we are also taking share of that brag worthy space कि किसी को iPhone चाहिए ही चाहिए, but उसको सस्ता भी चाहिए and वो कभी आपके brand का नाम भी नहीं लेगा. So for everybody,
yeah, that's a big challenge.
Yeah.
That, I mean, the OEM brands will take precedence over your brand.
Yes. So as you rightly mentioned, कि a founder needs to be a marketeer first. That's how we cracked this category. Now we are in 26 states of India. We cracked brag-worthy product बेचे, सिर्फ Apples पे ही focus किया. Then we were like कि हम किसी को बोल ही नहीं रहे हैं, आप हमारे brand को दिखाओ. I mean, we are assuming that 5-6 साल के बाद it will be a brag worthy thing जब लोग बोलेंगे कि हाँ, I am sustainable, I am using the refurbished devices. So we are just waiting for
the way what is called previously loved clothes, no? Now that's thrifting is
Boxed is also a thing.
But उनका opinion है towards LTV. मतलब Abhi, I think in all of our categories, it's a one-time.
No, but in his case, I think this is also a challenge because see, again, I'll say this from an investor point of view is कि अपना brand तो कभी बन ही नहीं पाएगा, or it'll take a long time. Whereas, at least for the rest of you, the person buying it in that sense is buying into your brand. But in his case, You know, he is, I mean, for the consumer, Apple is more important than saying, oh, where did I get this refurbished phone from?
In fact, हम इसी पे ही play कर रहे हैं. So this is how Spinny did it very beautifully. But वो Spinny जो है ना अपना पर्चा चिपका देता है गाड़ी पे.
But you know, the Spinny में, I think the difference is that second-hand car was an acceptable sort of
Aspiration.
Yes.
हाँ, consumer you know, behavior. ये you know, second-hand gadget.
Right.
I don't know whether it's a aspiration yet.
हाँ, so
अब पता नहीं लोग बोलेंगे कि मेरा Apple second hand है.
कभी नहीं बोलेंगे शायद. मतलब वो वही this is what we anticipate कि 5 साल के बाद बोलेंगे कि वो and वो बोलेंगे भी कि अगर लेना है तो Grest से ले लो. I mean this is what we'll never be on the forefront of a brand, but yes, people would say कि हाँ ले लो, refurbished is a smart choice और आप Grest से ले लो. That's what we are also aiming at. We are not bashing their egos. In fact, we are massaging their egos कि ठीक है तुम सस्ता लो, become smart, affordable लो, and we are there for your warranty.
Yeah, that is the logic of the second-hand car. ना कि नई गाड़ी लेते हो, the minute you drive it out of the showroom, it depreciates.
Right.
In a sense, I mean, you know, you know, mobiles are like that. The only thing is that it's become so aspirational that I've got the latest iPhone, you know. That becomes another bragging, right? But yeah, okay. Anybody else wants?
Then again, you know, circling back to the question there.
In your case, the consumer will only know if they go into that bathroom, into somebody's bathroom.
Absolutely correct. So the aha moment for our customer, you know, actually comes in once you experience it, you know. So what, you know, to take care of this particular problem of being in a niche. So I feel that it actually works really well for us in a way that we are understanding our customers. Now, all of us on a table here, we're all creating innovative things, focusing on the Indian customer. So as we get that intuitive, once we get a lot of feedback from the customers, you know, that's when the eyes of all the other investors, everyone else becomes sort of wider, you know, the entire aperture sort of opens up. Because we are the people who are creating a sort of a new paradigm or a new solution all of a sudden.
Scandinavian countries, in a lot of hotel rooms, you have a sauna in the room, right?
Absolutely.
And those rooms are not very big because in Europe, hotel rooms are quite small and they're expensive.
Absolutely correct.
But even in a very normal hotel, you will find a sauna in your room.
So beautiful stat about Scandinavian countries, specifically Finland and Germany again. The population is less than the number of saunas that exist.
In Finland, yeah.
Can
Yeah,
you
that's
imagine
a
that?
very well stat.
So what we did, you know, early on, we tried various problems of the customers. So first was, is this a price problem? You know, how do we fix the price? So we started a trial plan with a subscription model in place. Yeah, that we will take care of all your maintenance. You will just have to pay $1,500 a month.
But how much maintenance is there?
So the maintenance is about twice a year. That's it. Yeah. So we tried that model out where a lot of people were saying it's too expensive maybe as an entry point. So we said, okay, we'll just give it to you at $1,500 a month plus GST, and we're going to install the thing for you. If you like it.
As an EMI?
As an not as an EMI, as a pure play rental model. It's a pure play rent. We'll give you the machine on rent. You try it out. If you like it, you can purchase. The rent that you've paid will be adjusted from the purchase price. Because anyway, we were launching out, so we didn't have any second-hand units to go. So we were installing new units. And that way, you know, it becomes a very easy entry into the customer's home, because people are looking for this not just for the aspiration, but for the health benefits as well. So we tried that. We eventually, during the second lockdown, we pivoted that to a trial plan only because we couldn't fund the rents. So we tried a trial plan as well. Then what we realized is that people will require maintenance. So AMC has become the steady stream for the next 10 years. And once you get my product, nobody else in the market will ever be able, because it's technology built ground up by me. So you will have to rely on me for service. Secondly, all these niche customers that I'm getting, they're amazing premium customers who I can then sell a bunch of more hydro wellness technologies to. So eventually the same customer, in fact, started asking us for a sauna as well. They started asking us for whirlpool, started asking for chill showers.
I mean, if you were to do a small, almost like an in-room sauna that I've seen in hotels, what would be the cost in India?
So we have made it possible at about 2.5 to 3 lakhs is the...
That's it?
That's it. That's
Wow.
the smallest entry point for a sauna.
But is it high on electricity usage, power usage, or no?
Again, so that's our core belief again, that, you know, people are very value conscious here. People do look at the, you know,
Electricity
operating
bill.
charges as well.
Yeah.
So we have created the most efficient technologies, like our steam takes 1 unit of electricity or for a 15-minute
So
session.
have you put it, you know, I think some of the Taj properties have it now.
Yes.
That
So
in
we
the
have
shower
done
itself you get the
Taj
steam.
presidential suite is done by us.
No, not the presidential. I'm talking about regular rooms. I've seen
in
that
the
now.
spas, definitely there is.
Right.
So after your typical, even in the Indian Ayurveda scene, the smallest of the spas like the Kerala and the Kerala spas, they also have a steam, and take it to top-end hospitality 5-star projects. We've done steam and saunas for them. Take it to the Google headquarters. We did 2 saunas for them recently when they were developing a wellness space for their, you know, employees. So far and wide, you know, far and wide it's being installed. And this particular
I think
challenge
maybe
of...
then I think the communication has got to be on price, because I think a lot of people in India, you know, still value saunas as a luxury. But at that price, I mean, it's affordable luxury is what I would say, because it's a one-time cost.
Absolutely. So currently it's all, you know, people think it's a luxury play. The Kohlers and Jaguars of the world want to push you towards the luxury play, but we're coming at a premium price point. We're not the cheapest because that's definitely not where our customer lies. But value conscious people who have the money to spend, absolutely,
So
you know,
the
we got them
affluent
right.
class,
The
you're
affluent
targeting
class,
the
upper middle
affluent class, but
people
not the ultra-rich.
Yeah, correct.
So I would like to add, I think all of us are crazy but passionate people about the problem that we are solving. And there are ways to increase the size of the market and LTV, which we ultimately figure out as we are diving more deep into the problem. But the problem some founders face is they get in love with the technology or the solution part only. But we can increase the size or the pie by focusing on the problem. For example, for us, we started in 2020. We developed our own anti-microbial air purifier. IIT Bombay के professors के साथ develop किया. COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, black fungus, even drug-resistant microbes पे tested. We were the first one. We were able to sell to RBI, ONGC, Stock Holding Corporation of India, Cancer Hospital, etc. We did that for 3 years and then we pivoted. Why? Because air pollution का problem is there. But the method can change. अभी air purifier से हो रहा है, maybe what is in your habit AC उसको upgrade करके भी हो सकता है. Now giving some facts, air purifier का market is only 3 to 5 lakh units per year in India.
What is the value?
So in terms of value would be around 500 CR
That's
at
it.
max. That's it. And that is why as investor you won't be interested, right? But let me change the perspective now. So that 1 lakh, 3 lakh to 5 lakh units only. But ACs, almost 1 CR to 1.5 CR being sold every year. Installed
What is the
base-
value?
So because our AOV is much lesser, so for us value doesn't make a lot of sense. But it is around
AC market. I'm talking about
around
AC.
20 billion. 20 billion in India alone. 70 to 20.
And there's still very low penetration.
Yeah, correct. That's what I'm coming to. For example, 1 CR, 1.5 CR every year installed base of 10 to 15 CR ACs. All of these ACs we can upgrade with our system. Previously, we were operating in 3 to 5 lakh only, जहाँ पे सारे players आ जाते हैं, Covid, Dyson, Philips, Honeywell, MI, all of them. And we would have become one player. After 3 years, we pivoted saying we want to build this new category where the total market size can be 1 CR every year plus 10 CR of installed base. And now in India, the penetration rate is only 8%. In China, it is 60. In US, it is 90. So we all know where we are headed, and that is why we are pretty hopeful that in next 2-3 years, we would be selling more products than the entire category of air purifiers. So that's how we have changed the game entirely.
No, I think it's important to change the game, and that's what founders are supposed to do. But my question was coming that the journey to it, is it too long? Because you need both. You need speed as a founder, and you need, so less education and more sales is what is the optimum.
So we don't get monetary value and we don't as in job what you get, right? But at the end of the day, we do get satisfaction. Also, the learning that we do every day, right? So these two things, I think that's what differentiates us us, the crazy people.
But you are right in saying the journey is long when working in a consumer electronics space, and
Then
especially
you have to educate the consumer.
exactly. And if there is a hardware involved in the whole value proposition, that also makes the product life cycle a little longer, the servicing part a little longer. So yeah, journey in consumer electronics space, especially for hardware specific, is a pretty long and capital intensive.
Yeah.
Similar to this, actually, even in home automation space, how we can tackle with this issue is that we are counting on people to build their smart homes. So now we have products like we have over 30, 40 SKUs. So now let's say a customer comes and tries like 5 of our smart home products. Now they know, okay, this is what it feels like. This is all that I can do. Now they have over 30 more products to experiment from. Okay, now I can just add this product.
For yours, can I just say this, that, you know, like whenever I've thought of home automation, I'm wondering, has it gone out of control? Do I really need an app to control my curtains, for example?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds great, but I also don't want to constantly be on a screen to manage my home.
That is understandable, but that is not the case at all, actually.
Okay.
The thing is that me, myself, like the founders, like my founder and I, we ourselves don't use the app as much because we have voice assistants. So we have Alexa, Google Home. So app खोलने की actually ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ती. Alexa lights on, Alexa lights off, Alexa I'm leaving the home.
So it's integrated with Alexa.
Yeah. Everything is integrated so that like the moment that you walk into your home, the sensors sense you, like and then तुम्हारे घर की सारी lights, fans उसके हिसाब से automate होते हैं. So rather than you actually having to control everything gets controlled as per how you set things. For
So
them.
where would you say there is a greater need, in an office or in a home?
I would say in a home, because when we go back to home, we are looking for convenience and comfort. कि मेरे को अब मैं पूरा दिन काम कर आया हूँ, मेरे को आराम से बेड पे लेटना है और सब कुछ यूज़ करना है एक ही फ़ोन से. So and office में definitely there's a space for office as well, because वहाँ पे electricity save कर सकते हैं by automating lights and everything, कि सुबह इतने बजे on होनी है, रात को इतने बजे off होनी है. All of that's there, but actual convenience would be at a home, I feel. Yeah.
So anybody else has thoughts on this question? The long and hard journey of educating the consumer, is it worth it or not?
So, or not will be justified by our eventual progresses, the outcomes that we generate. But definitely the worth it aspect, again, just to have an opportunity to be driving a change, a customer behavior, which is super huge. To even think about, somebody can probably just change the way you shower, I feel is a really lofty ideal. And again, we all internally have our lofty ideals that we work
did for the
towards.
WC, right? I mean, till
Exactly.
Toto did what
Look
they
at that.
did.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody knew all this could be
All this
possible. But now I think it's par for the course. I went to a hotel in Delhi recently, and their washroom had Toto, and I'm like, every public washroom in a hotel, at least in a 5-star, should have it, because the hygiene levels and really, really goes up. So if you're walking into a 5-star, I think now they've changed the game. Like that should be the bare minimum sort of requirement. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And this, again, like he was saying, and I have a similar vision, my devices, like my geyser, again, I'm more in the butt tech space. So, when I get off my office, my phone already knows what sort of day I've had. The temperature, my phone knows. Everything that can be fed in. There are data points out there available through tech. And they need to be plugged in and give me that perfect shower or that perfect experience every time I step in.
I think a perfect shower really changes your day. It really, really does.
We're spending years in this space.
Yeah. No. It's just again, I think because we came from a scarcity economy, anything that seems like a luxury requires a little bit of mind shift, more than anything else. Because even to say that, oh, I've got steam in my bathroom sounds as if, oh my God, how decadent are you? But it's the other way around.
Yeah, it's
because if it helps you with your pores, it helps you unlock energy. Actually, a good shower really unlocks your quality of energy and day, or how you end your day also.
Exactly. So some of our customers who are unable to sleep at night,
good shower
after
will
a
give you a
good
good
shower,
sleep.
after a good hot shower, you can sleep for long. So,
Yeah.
so again, these little nuances of everyday lives of Indian customers, we are very deep in. We're dissecting it, and going deeper and deeper and creating those features like in our products. Like all of us have put in certain you can say Easter eggs for our customers, when they actually use
to
it.
find it.
And they're like, oh wow, I didn't even know you put this
The
in.
delight factor is very high.
So
So from that delight to getting, word of mouth, I mean, do you think it's a longer journey then? Because here a lot of it is experiential. You have to experience your products to really get the next sale. I don't know, no matter how much you guys do in marketing or performance marketing, I don't know what is the outcome.
So I think our marketing spend has been close to zero only.
Zero?
Yeah, as zero, I mean just a fraction of the numbers. Mostly it has been word of mouth, and since we are primarily into the B2B2C space, so it spreads like a wildfire. Since this is a supply deficit industry, people get pulled towards us. So till date, marketing spend has been very minimal.
So do you also acquire from these, resellers who buy your old phone?
Yes. So we are primarily a D2C brand. The value proposition we are giving to the customers is कि आप aspirations खरीदो affordability के साथ. We are telling them कि if you buy a phone from us, okay, I'll help you get rid of your phone. We are not saying कि आप अपना phone बेचो and मुझे खरीद. No. It's like it's a forward sale mechanism, and our backward integration is our biggest moat. We are with a lot of resellers, lot of Apple premium resellers. वहाँ से we source the inventory directly from the customers, but not going to their homes, so that they are not.
Yeah, so you have easy, single point of sort of collection point.
Yes. So that's how we've cracked it.
So again, going back, I would say the the pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow there. So in consumer business, we know the sheer size of India. It's 140 crore people. And for all of our businesses, we see that again, penetration is super low right now in India. Handles through your work and your work. Now people are getting way smarter with tech, people have information at their fingertips now. And because of that, and again, the macroeconomic trends of manufacturing, moving out of China, coming towards India and other places, I see, definitely there's a long walk to getting all of these customers, but the market size is so huge that all of us, if we're able to get the problem solution right, then there's definite fortune at the end of it.
So at this point of our conversation, I'm just going to turn the tables literally and metaphorically. So I'll welcome questions from all of you. I mean, any questions you have, I will speak on my behalf and hopefully on the larger investor community behalf. So any questions anybody has, please feel free to ask.
What's the, why does the investor community gets away from the hardware business directly? Whereas if you look at that Paytm box, it's my favorite product of past 2-3. That's a sound box, right? It does so much business for Paytm, and whereas the real value in the hands of consumer also comes with when they purchase a hardware. And there have been large consumer electronic top 3 companies of the world, if you look at it, are in the my space. Microsoft, Apple, and all. Why does the investor community and
So to begin with, disclaimer, we are already investors in a hardware software company called Appliance, so they make hardware. So we don't shy away.
Okay.
But
in general,
yes, I think you have a valid point. Hardware is difficult to do.
True.
There are natural sort of problems like inventory. So, if you're not able to assess demand correctly, that inventory hold and that aging of inventories are real. So any business actually, not just hardware, but any business where there's a inventory issue or there could be an inventory issue, VC investors tend to shy away, because for us, see, the ability to assess market demand and your inventory, and therefore working capital and how much you hold as inventory, is a very critical part of the whole business. Now, you compare this to a pot of face cream, for example. The COGS is so low that even if there's a write-off, let's say 10% or even 20% write-off, the gross margin allows it, that you can take that hit. But in your case, in hardware, I mean, your gross margins are low. What are your...
35%.
So 35% is just not enough to recoup, all of those challenges. The large companies got built as an arbitrage, and it was believed that the friction, therefore, for the for the company to become big was not. And if you look at like somebody like even Apple, which is a hardware software sort of, I mean, I don't know like how many companies like Apple are going to get built, because they did everything differently. Retail, they excelled at retail. Physical retail, I mean, they changed the game in retail. They changed the game in the OS piece. They went closed ecosystem versus an open architecture. So they did so many things in a unique way, and that gave them that advantage. But unfortunately, a lot of founders who build in this don't think, I think Apple thought like a leader from day one. They were never followers. In everything they did, they were leaders. Whatever the current trend was, whatever the current norm was, and they've continued at that. The day they stopped that, so people keep saying Apple is not technologically as savvy as, let's say, Samsung is.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they think so differently that it gives them that edge. So that's why investors, and India still doesn't have so much risk capital. So you also need to be, unfortunately, America supports, and it can support a lot more things, right? So it's also risk capital scarcity overall.
True.
Who else has questions for investors?
I just wanted to address the question of dichotomy that is faced by investor and then in turn a founder as well, as to when to invest in a company. Because a lot of investors say that we are early stage investors, but at the same time being early stage investors, their agenda is ki, okay, no, you need to have minimum itna revenue for us to be interested. And then you don't invest there, and then later on it's like, no, you have generated too much revenue for us to enter now. So like what's the sweet spot?
Too much revenue is easy to answer, because that then defines both the round size and valuation, right? So let's say somebody is running a 50 crore fund, and these are now realities in the Indian market, right? So 50 crore wala fund, let's say you are already at 20 crores ARR. A 50 crore fund can't afford you, right? Because you will typically, the rule of thumb is that if you're generating 20 crores, you can raise 20 crores, right? Because that's how you get your next level of growth. So if you're going to raise 20 crores, a 50 crore fund or even a 100 crore fund can't afford you. So that's a simpler question to answer. That you're too early, that's a conviction piece, and the reason it is that way is, again, my favorite answer to all of these questions is going to be scarcity of risk capital, because because we are all in the ecosystem, so we hear that, oh, this one got invested, that one got invested, and of course the guys who do get invested also make it sound as if it's very easy. But the other day I was at an event and somebody there mentioned, so DPIT has 150,000 registered startups. Guess how many funded startups there are in India? 22,000. So look at the gap, right? And that gap, it's a bit like the JEE. The number of people who clear the JEE has nothing to do with intelligence, it's just volume. If 2 lakh people are going to take the JEE, and let's say the total number of seats or whatever, I don't know what the
12 lakhs give JEE, 10,000 other seats.
Yeah, so then now you tell me, is the problem of intelligence, or it's just that there aren't enough seats? There aren't enough seats. It's not about even population, because also the gap between IITs and the next engineering college is not as desirable, right? So it's also that. It's a demand and supply issue. It's not about intelligence.
Right.
So risk capital has a similar problem in India, that the number, and 150,000 that the DPIT number is, are those registered with DPIT. I would assume that the number is closer to 2.5 lakhs, because there are also new startups coming up every day. So they're not able to, it's not a push factor that makes you go and register with DPIT. It's a choice. Like if you want to as a startup, you can. So then you tell me, like let's say there are 250,000, 22,000 are the total number of invested startups. So therefore, the investor does at this point have a little bit more choice than founders do.
Yeah.
And then it's also, see, I say this a lot to founders, if you want to raise VC money, I think it's as much on the founders to learn about the VC business, because it is a new business in India. But our first fiduciary responsibility is to our LPs and to our regulator, because we have to file with them to say this is our strategy. So, उस strategy से, if let's say I've already done one pre-revenue and my strategy is not pre-revenue, I possibly cannot do a second, because then my LPs will say, what are you doing?
Right.
True.
So, थोड़ा सा एक वो भी है. I mean, you have to understand the flow of capital. It's not whimsical. In some cases, yeah, you do have a little bit more wiggle room. Somebody is deploying 3,000 crores, that fund will have a lot more wiggle room, because they can take far more risk, right? Because they have far more capital. But if you're talking to somebody with 50 crores or 100 crores, that fund will not have the same wiggle room.
Right.
So that's why this answer, which somehow, I mean, you're caught by surprise both times. But this, like I said, the second answer is easy to sort of
I think
answer.
also it's a way to say no too early. Yeah.
Yes and no, it is, of course. It is also a polite way to say that, listen, we can't
Not
do
my
this.
interest, yeah.
But I'm saying genuinely also, there is a mismatch with the kind of risk capital needed and what is available today. And within that, now, a lot of people are first-time fund managers. So, उन्होंने सुनी हुई इनकी कहानियाँ होती हैं that hardware is hard to do or B2B2C is hard to do. I mean, if you speak to like companies like Atomberg and all who have now are considered success, but when they were starting out, who gave them a chance? कि भाई a ceiling fan. Well, like, what was the problem statement there? Ceiling fan की क्या ही problem statement थी, right? But of course, I mean, it took them also that much time, therefore, because that was the belief. Nobody goes out looking for a ceiling fan, right? It was जब घर बनता है तब वो सी तो again LTV क्या है? Same questions, right? Any more questions? If that.
You guys, yeah, but you guys do selection or you do elimination? And what are the points?
It's a bit of both. Like I said, look, I mean, again, I say this very frequently and I'll repeat myself. The SoftBank Vision Fund, which was the largest in the world, $100 billion, right? It looks like a lot of money. Still finite amount of money, right? So obviously not everybody will get funded. So it is a bit of both. It is both selection and elimination, both. So again, the numbers I just shared, if there are 2 lakh founders who are at whatever stage, it could be idea, revenue, pre-revenue. And again, different investors do invest across different stages. But how many, right? I mean, most portfolios, even in Vision Fund at $100 billion, there's a finite number of companies will be able to do. So let's say, I don't know Vision Fund में कितना वो कर सकते थे, but let's assume that they could do 50 companies, but it's still 50 companies around the world. So how many people are going to make it? So there will be a bit of both.
And I think it's also about the industry, basically. So for example, being D2C, being, the whole fashion industry is booming and D2C space is booming, then maybe it could be elimination.
दोनों see हर founder के साथ it's a function of, see, many things have to work. So one is your idea, how are you executing it? How is it that your conversation with a particular investor, what is it that the particular investor understands or is looking for? Both things are important. Then there's final chemistry between the founder and the person across the table, right? Ultimately, it's about trust. As an investor, can I trust a founder?
So when it shifts from कि founder की vision पे हम पैसा डाल रहे हैं to अब company में पैसा डाल रहे हैं?
I think वो 100 crores के ऊपर होता है. When you're over 100 crores of ARR, that's when you, as a company becomes larger and larger, the founder is of course still very important, but by that time you can get a good team. You will have a CXO level leadership team which starts playing a bigger role than, let's say, but up until 100 crores ARR in consumer in India, it is only the founder. Because, to analyze and assess that what is the direction one takes. One of the companies we are evaluating, they started with a one business model. Now they were trying to do something online. And my question was, so how are they relevant now to this part that they're trying to? Obviously the founders have also thought about something. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो भी अनाड़ी की तरह थोड़ी आगे बढ़ रहे हैं. But it's about how the investor also sees that journey. And is there compatibility? I mean, it's not to say that the investor wants to control the founder, but it's also compatibility that can you, and when I said trust, that's what it means, right? Can you evoke that kind of trust that I'll say, okay, fine, I trust the founder, and hopefully the founder will do something and figure out a way, because early stage, it is a lot of that. Now again, a lot of founders think it's an entitlement. Trust is not an entitlement. Trust has to be earned. So it's if founders understand that, it's impossible, and in India we're a low trust society. It's impossible ki if, like, let's say as an investor I meet 1,000 founders, can I feel that I can trust everybody? There's no way it's going to happen, and that's true for everybody. So again, you have to think, like all of you talked about psychology of the consumer. Think about the psychology of the investor. It'll take you very far. Yeah, so that's a very, very important thing, because we are human beings, founders are human beings. So what is it that allows us to connect and trust each other? That's the most important part of the conversation. Too many founders think I'll dazzle with my technology, कि मैंने ये gap सोचा. All that is important. Final है कि psychology, have you understood the investor's psychology? So one last question, guys. Anyone has to ask, or have I answered all the questions?
So if you have to objectify the percentage, like, so trust being the very important factor to consider, what are the other factors do you consider, and what percentage of decision making?
So early stage is not a mathematical problem. Early stage is a lot more about the founder than it's about anything else, because the founder thinks about the problem, the founder is thinking about the solution, and then uske baad is the execution. So again, a lot of founders, put a lot of emphasis on the product in the early stage when they're talking to investors. But to me at least, the product is the starting point. For a lot of founders, in their communication is the end point. Oh, I've discovered this great product, now give me money. And I'm like, I wish great products alone got built large companies, but the world is littered, with a graveyard of great ideas and great products. Great products do not lead necessarily to large and good companies. Without taking names, I mean, there's some very large, dominant monopolies almost. Product is crappy, but how they thought about the execution, how did they think about surrounding the consumer so completely that the switching cost is so high that you will put up with the imperfection of the product. And that I don't think enough founders in India are thinking about, It takes a very different kind of mindset and DNA to think about it. So I'm not saying build crappy products, so don't get me wrong on that either. But what I'm trying to say is that product is just the starting point. So again, like I find a lot of specifically engineers in India, they'll obsess about fine-tuning the product. Ye aur ek feature, how many decks I've seen where founders have said, "Arey, ye feature nahi hai Zomato mein," and I'm talking about when Zomato was also a more nascent company, not now. But that's not what leads to a great company. It's so much about execution, so much. And if you can understand and crack that, and you're able to again explain it to the investor, instead of being bombastic, I'm building a global company. मतलब बोलने में क्या जाता है? कोई भी बोल सकता है, I'm building a global company. उसका मतलब क्या है? Does the founder comprehend it deeply enough and is then able to communicate and get conviction on the other side कि हाँ यहाँ पे कुछ है, it could be possible.
That's a very valid, wonderful insight.
Yeah. So on that very happy note, hopefully for all of you, I'm going to close this startup table with AJ. I want to thank all of you for joining me. I think it was a very, very interesting, invigorating conversation. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. Nobody touched their food, but please do eat. It's very good food as well. So thank you. Thank you so much.